Welcome to Everyday Entrepreneurs Everywhere with your host, Chris Parker.
And welcome to Everyday Entrepreneurs Everywhere. This is Chris Parker, and I have another Parker in the conversation today, Heather Parker, coming in from the United States. And full disclosure, Heather is a close cousin. So we grew up together, and I see her, well, during COVID time, not so much, but typically once a year on the trips back. And I was recently triggered by some promotions that she was sending around on Facebook and stuff. And so that was really a trigger to reach out and check in with Heather and learn from her about what she's doing in her healing practice. So Heather, great to see you. Could you share with us, what is it that you do and why do you do what you do?
I am a Reiki master teacher. That means that I've been attuned in 3 levels of Reiki and have been practicing Reiki so that long enough that I can teach as well as give Reiki.
And why?
Reiki.
Why? Yeah. Why is this something that you do?
Well, there's, for me, when something comes into my awareness 2 or 3 times, I'll pay attention. Like, there's a reason that this is coming up for me. Let me see what I'm supposed to get from this. And Reiki, that was it with Reiki. Energy healing in and of itself, and Reiki specifically. So by the 3rd time that energy healing came about, I was at a party, a fundraising dinner party, and what I get a lot is, wow, your energy, it's so good. It just feels good to be around you. And it's like, okay, well, thank you. Let me explore this. What is this? And there's so much about us as human beings, and not just human beings, all of life, animals, plants. We're emitting energy. We're affecting each other energetically. And being introduced to Reiki helped me make sense of all these things that I had a clue about, but I really didn't know what it was. Even including prayer. I was part of a church for quite some time in my younger years, and prayer, for me, it has been a powerful way of expressing and getting stuff out. For me, talking to God it's like us talking. There's a familiarity, it's safe, and there's no judgment on what I'm thinking or have to say. And it's also a place for me to surrender and be humble, which I'm not always humble naturally, like who is, but I definitely am not. So
I would love to get into this maybe universal energy later, but can you share with me and others, what is Reiki and energy healing? So how do you describe that to someone who's just completely unaware?
Yeah, it's this always is fun for me. It ties into it. So universal life force energy in different cultures, it's your chi, your prana, this essential energy that connects us to all that is, basically. So no matter what anybody's religious practices are, it's okay, if there's a higher power of any kind out there, God, source energy, that's moving through all of us. And Reiki is a way to funnel the energy. It's with the hands. So right now, I'm sending you Reiki. I'm sending everybody watching this Reiki. And it's Reiki will go anywhere within our physical body or our other, this we call them the subtle bodies. So that's your emotional well-being, mental things. Anywhere that there's a clog, something that we haven't worked out, or is sometimes it's just other people's energy that sticks to us. Like when you're around somebody that has a lot of negative energy, and then you leave them and you feel drained, for example. Mm-hmm. Reiki helps bring us back into our normal flow, because our energy moves like this. And when there's blocks, it just interrupts it. So it expresses itself in different ways depending on what the block is.
And how do you do that? You said it's with the hands, but you can also do it at a distance. So is this something that you're injecting into the person, or is it something you're taking out of them, or is it something altogether different?
It's the Reiki practitioner is a conduit of the energy moving to a person. And then any other gifts that a practitioner has, works hand in hand with the practice itself. For me, I'm also clairsentient, which most people are more familiar with someone being clairvoyant. Well, there's multiple clairs. Clairsentient is I can see your feelings. So when I'm in someone's energy field, they don't have to say it to me. I've already seen it. So with Reiki, the Reiki does what it does, which is absolutely relaxing. So like I tell people that are newer to what energy healing is, at the very least, your body is going to experience a deeper level of relaxation even in 15 minutes, because we're energetic beings and we're constantly interacting with each other. So this is just a straight focused way of sending good energy to a person.
Now, this clairsentient, that with so many different vibrations and emotions going on, isn't this confronting for you if you're being confronted by so many different people's emotions? I'm not sure if I would want to have that ability. In fact, I do a lot to protect myself from the emotions of others, and thus I am very conscious and disciplined about connecting. So how does that weave into your work?
Well, let me say that it's a daunting way of being, for sure. So there's tools that I've accumulated over the years in different ways. And I find that all of these tools come together. All of these tools come together. So like learning about codependency and setting boundaries, huge tool. Helps me tremendously because I can easily get pulled into someone's emotional field, and I could get stuck there without being able to go no, because it's the head and the heart working together. So I can say, hey, I still want to hear you. However, I have a meeting. So let's check back later. Whereas when I was younger and I didn't have the tools or the awareness, it was just messy. And it was very hard to determine what was, is that me? I feel anxious? Oh, no, that was their stuff. And that's a big thing to understand about oneself so that we can navigate better.
Yeah, it sounds to me like there's a level of emotional maturity in your awareness, and then in being able to consciously say, no, that's your funk, not mine. And if you have tools to execute that in a loving and caring way, as opposed to being abrupt. And do you help people with those types of things in your practice as well? So when you're doing a Reiki session, are these the types of things that you can help them maybe remove the funk of others and clear up whatever they're carrying around? Is that basically the premise of all this?
Yes.
So what is like a top example of what somebody might be suffering from, or symptoms that would trigger them to say, hey, I need a bit of Reiki from, sorry, you're calling it Reiki? Reiki.
Well,
Reiki.
I call it Reiki.
Okay. I think they're calling it different things over here in Europe. So let's just call it whatever we call it, and I'll keep changing between the two. What are some symptoms that people are experiencing that would trigger them to give you a shout and go on your website and schedule a session?
Resistance is the first thing that came up right now. People experiencing resistance, and that might look like a resistance to dealing with something painful. And I find that with anything that is ready to be healed, to be looked at, to be released, will start, there'll be things, the way life, it cooperates in this way. So like when someone is heartbroken, for example, and everywhere they go, they see the person who broke their heart's face everywhere. You just can't get away from it. It's there, right? So it's the same with various things, because it's not always a heartbreak, although there's multiple ways for the heart to break. So there's levels to it, right? And what happens in the sessions with me, because every Reiki practitioner is offering Reiki and their gifts from who they are. So for me, I do a lot of, it's called distance healing or remote Reiki sessions, and I do those over the phone. I'm happy to do them on video if that's what the client wants, but not everybody wants that. And in Reiki, and this is for anybody who practices Reiki, if I'm doing it remotely, then I have an object that is holding the place for you. So I have a Reiki bear, and yeah, it's about yay big, and she's a young lady now. At the time when I mentored her, she was about 12 or 13. She's in foster care, and that girl used to give me so much grief, and it was understandable. It wasn't personal. It was where she was at and the things that she was going through. So we had plenty of breakthroughs, and by the time she left to go home with her family, she gave me this bear, which was such a huge gift for me. Like, oh my gosh, she loves me. It worked. She felt it, that I can see it. It's growing. So that's my Reiki bear. So it is already a place of great love. And it's important to me that anyone that works with me feels welcome, safe, and comfortable, because it's not easy to let down our guards. And for Reiki to be the most effective, there is an element of being open. Because I'm really holding space for you to work out whatever it is that you're working out, whether it's grief, heartbreak, physical pain, illness, death. It's all in there. So it's amazing, and it confirms for me time and time again that we are so much more connected than we are disconnected. And it's humbling, and it's beautiful. And I love it. It's my favorite thing.
And what are the type? I guess one of my questions is, what is your perfect customer? But it sounds like certain people need to have a certain personality or temperament or openness to these types of discussions and methods. So it's like, who would be perfect for you, and say, this is the type of person that I love working with?
I love it's the openness part. Temperament and everything else, that's just extra fun. I'm a Leo. I don't care. It's fun. We're gonna have fun. So
and open to what exactly? What is the openness?
It's being open. So that takes a letting go of what you think it should be or whatever, and just allowing yourself to experience it, because it's different for everybody. It is very relaxing. The more when someone's being open, then they allow themselves to be in that deeper, almost like a meditative state. And I know everyone doesn't meditate, so it varies. Someone who does meditate and is used to seeing colors when they close their eyes or whatever, or some people can feel their spirit, not their spirit, but someone else's spirit near them. A lot of times it's a grandparent or someone who has transitioned, but you can feel their energy. So in that way, it's different, but the openness just allows I guess a flow in conversation. Like at the end, for me, at the end of my sessions, I leave room for us to share. So what did you experience? In Reiki, people might feel hot and cold temperatures varying in different places of their body during the session. Some people feel tingling sensations, or like some people say, I have an ache in my shoulder on the right side, and it's just stiff. By the end of the session, the person might feel it relax, and it's like, wow, I feel lighter. So those are a couple of examples of how that works. However, you don't need to be that to get anything from it. And I'll give you an example. It was when I first started practicing Reiki, I volunteered at Huntington Memorial Hospital in Pasadena, California. Great hospital. And we worked with patients who had come out of serious surgeries. And there was one of the patients that I got to work with, and we're only spending like 30 minutes max with a person, if that, more like 15, 20. and they request it, so it's not anything pushed on anybody. One patient who appeared stoic and maybe like they weren't open, but that isn't what happened. So while I was giving this person Reiki, I kept hearing, forgive, forgive, forgive. And at that point, I'm still learning, like, it's okay for me to say this stuff out loud, or like, because I would go through this, they're going to think I'm crazy if I say this out loud. However, this is where learning to trust myself, that I got good practice in this, like, just to say it. So this person, stoic looking person, I shared that, and they cried. Like, I know exactly what that means. And I'm like, okay, I'm just a participant. It's not me. It's just coming through. It's just coming through. Another example, I also got to work with some people in their outpatient behavioral center. And this one person who was a scientist, so supracranial, cerebral.
Mm-hmm.
Her staff person we were in a room with the door open, and the staff person was just outside, and I'm giving this person Reiki, and I could see it. It was just a little tear right here. And at the end, the staff asked how they liked the experience, because it was their first time with Reiki. And they said, it was only like 5 minutes. And he said, no, you were in here for 30 minutes. So when I say it's different for everybody, for that person, getting from here into here, clearly difficult for that person to do. No judgment, just what it is. So being able to support people wherever they are, however they come in, is a beautiful honor for me. And I've been doing this not as long as many other people, obviously. However, I've had enough experiences to see so many variances. It's awesome.
Well, you haven't done it for long, you said, but it's since 2016 is what I read on the website. And the website is skeh.org. skeh.org. Can you tell me the story behind the acronym?
Sure. My business's name is Soul Knowing Energy Healing. And while attempting to communicate this in short windows and spaces, saying that and spelling it all out can be challenging because it's a mouthful. So I was inspired by one of my clients at my day job. They have a hashtag with the acronym for their company, and I was like, oh, that is so smart. I'm going to try this. So when I was working on my website, I was like, let's not make this hard for people, Heather, just because you like your whole business name.
And is what you've been describing so far, is that what you mean by soul knowing?
To some extent, yes. People will talk about their intuition, which is absolutely valid. It's in the same vein. Like, My tagline is trust what your soul knows. And the way we're conditioned in society to do, we can get so far outside of ourselves that we don't hear ourselves anymore. However, it's still in there. So it's the remembering and then trusting it. So like even when I'm practicing Reiki and I'll hear things, it's not a coincidence. So trusting it is important. And the way that shows up for me in everyday scenarios, if I might not have any physical evidence to say there's something wrong here in this situation with these people here, like maybe there's danger, but I can feel it. And when I was younger, I would dismiss it like, and then walk right into it. So trusting what our soul knows is going, hey, that's happening. I'm experiencing this for a reason. And I can trust it. I can trust what my soul knows. And it's different than holding a position of I'm always right. That's not it. It's knowing without having anything in this present moment, like here's my test results. You know, if I do this, you can see it, but we don't always have that in every given moment. So learning or relearning to trust ourselves is imperative and so helpful in creating healthy connections with one another.
Cool. So skeh.org, and I was going to try to make a word out of it, like Georg, but that doesn't work either. So let's just stick with skeh.org.
Nice try.
You mentioned earlier that you're a Leo.
Mm-hmm.
And that means you're a lioness.
Yes.
And I'm the proud owner of your book of poems that you published probably 2-3 years ago, maybe longer.
4 years ago now.
So on your website, skeh.org, and there's a product page, and in there you can find the book. So I'm curious about the book, and then well as some other products on here. There's some different kits and sprays and crystals and things. So share the story of the book for a moment, and then what are all of these other products doing? Because this is a new evolution of your business that I wasn't aware about until I saw it on Facebook recently.
Yes. Okay. So the book, well, I've been writing poetry since high school, on and off, and then probably about 15 years ago, I got back into the flow, and then I was meeting other artists and poets, and my friend and mentor Tony Haynes encouraged me to publish a book, and I received it, yet I also was like, that's crazy, me publish a book. However, again, when things come into my awareness, I'm like, okay, I have to give this some credence. So I was at an open mic in LA, and a gentleman shared about this writing cohort that he started. And he's a professor of English and also an artist himself, and a man with great vision. And he started, it's called the Community Lit Association, or whatever. It's not Institute. Hello, Heather. Community CLI, yeah. And you had to, I had to apply, kind of like going to grad school. You have to apply, be accepted, and then do the thing. And at the end of the 10-week course, we all had an opportunity to pitch our books to small publishing presses here in LA and publish a book. It was an extraordinary experience. I can't wait to do it again. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So, and the link there, you can buy it right on there. I think, can you still get it on Amazon and places like that as well? Is it still
You can
available?
get it on Amazon.
Yeah.
And I know that's easier in a lot of ways for people. However, if you buy it through the link on my website or go through my publisher directly, I get paid more because Amazon takes half of what they would pay me regularly.
Right on. So we'll put the link to the book there on your site, so you can get that there. So,
Thank
what
you.
about these other packages that are? And the book, by the way, is called Loving a Lioness: Poetry and Life, Love and Eros. And well, Eros is another word for love, I think, right? A
Yes.
Greek word for love. So
When Greek love is broken down in how it's expressed, unlike English, that's just love. I love pizza. I love you. Not the same thing. But, so like agape.
Which do you love more?
Always you, Chris. Are you kidding me?
I'm not. I'm detecting an aura of insincerity there, because I know you love pizza.
Terrible.
No, cool. So tell me about these, because there's
Pizza didn't send me postcards from all over the place.
True that. So nor does pizza send you boxes of chocolate every Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. See?
So tell me about some of these, and the reason it was really meaningful for me to have this conversation right now is because, hey, there's Christmas coming up, and you have these gift packages that I thought were really quite cool. There's crystals and sprays and chakra kits and all these fun things. What's the story behind that, and how can people get a hold of those as gift items this year?
Yay. I love those too, because again, it's the energy of things. And I actually have one. Someone just bought one here, so I can show you. So I make two different kinds of chakra kits. I have a basic chakra kit, and then I have the Sublime Chakra Kit. The basic chakra kit is exactly what it sounds like. It's basic. And it's the perfect thing for someone who's just starting out with understanding their own energy, or has just taken a fancy to crystals but doesn't know what that is. Let me bring it a little closer. This is red Jasper. It's works with your root chakra. Our root chakra is the grounding part of us, how we're connected to the earth, whether we feel safe, finances, shelter, all of those things. When they're out of whack, our root chakra usually is acting out of whack too. So a lot of times, just having it to be able to hold it, so it's a reminder, hey, let me refocus and send love to that area. But you get seven crystals you get 7 crystals in both, but with this it's red Jasper, carnelian, which comes in different shades of yellow to almost red. That works with your sacral chakra, your creative energy, your sexual energy. Some tiger's eye.
So what's the difference between the basic and the sublime?
Sublime.
Is it a different type of crystal?
Yeah. The Sublime Chakra Kits I intuitively design. So it could be a wide variety of crystals that are like, hey, this one comes, and that one takes a little more time to put together, because I'm tuning into your energy. Like, what do I get? Oh, okay. There's there's so many crystals, and they work with varying chakras. So it's different. It's a more creative experience for me to create the Sublime Chakra Kits.
Cool. And then you have some different packages as well. So like the self-care package has the basic chakra as well as some sage spray and things like that. What would I know the act of burning sage to cleanse a space and things like that. So is the sage spray sort of the same thing, but in a bottle?
Yeah. So
okay.
This is my own personal one, and I didn't use the bottles I use are 2-ounce bottles for the sage spray, and they're beautiful cobalt blue. This is just mine to keep it work because there are people that are crazy here, and sometimes I need to calm down. So, some people can't burn things in their apartments or their offices, and or you're just out and about and you can't just, well, you could, but maybe it's not the best thing to light up some sage or an herb that you're going to clear some energy and just walk around like this at people. It could be effective. I don't know. I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't, but
here in the Netherlands, it is in fact legal to light up that herb to make you feel better. That's I think it's a different type of herb you were talking about. So have you actually ever sprayed someone directly and saying, dude, you've got some bad energy? Psh, psh. I don't know, probably not. I hope not. So I can imagine. I can imagine the need to.
This is where it's where there's a connection between me and the other people. Like, oh no,
yeah,
that's that attitude. Fix it.
Right on. Heather, I've enjoyed this. This is part of my family series, which is turning into a series.
Seriously.
Which I love, and I'm discovering things about you that I never knew, and really appreciative of your openness and sharing. And for people, because you do it at a distance, I guess that could be worldwide. If people are interested in benefiting from your service, skh.org, and then that will also be at the podcast page, ebullient.com/podcast/Heather-Parker. Yay. And I'm curious, I'd like to just open it up and share. And if during this whole conversation you have been inspired or have an intuition to share anything additional before we wrap up, I just want to create that window for you.
It's in my life journey, not just in my business journey. With life being so precious, learning to be present is invaluable, and it requires us to pay attention to how we're being. And that's an internal process, which is counter to how society moves at large. You don't like your butt, get a new one. You don't like this, you don't like your hair color, dye it. You don't like your eye colors, get contacts. All the things that we can do to change the aesthetics of ourselves is outward, and it's not so much of a judgment thing, but if we're more valuable than that part, because this expires at any given time anyway. What's inside of us doesn't. My dad used to say, pretty is what pretty does. And that sticks with me. That sticks with me. And it's a moment by moment thing, because every day is different. Our situations and circumstances fluctuate from year to year, month to month, day to day, hour to hour sometimes. So it's less about like, yeah, I might mess up here or there or here and there. Yet if I keep coming back to working on myself, it creates a beautiful vibration, even when there's errors, or sometimes those errors lead to disconnections. Yet the love remains. That's it.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I love your father as well. Miss him dearly.
Me too.
Thank you, Heather. skeh.org, everybody, if you're looking for something creative and special for Christmas. And you can also reach out to Heather. I'm sure she would love to have a conversation with you about how she might help or how you might be able to help each other. So Heather Parker, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. I love you.
I know. I love you too.
Learn more at ebillion.com/podcast.